All right, everybody, welcome back. We're diving right into it today.
Yeah.
We're going to be getting into a deep dive on celiac disease.
Yes, celiac disease.
And we've got some really good stuff from the gluten-free podcast.
Excellent source.
It's going to be really interesting to see how we can take what we learned from that and really help you guys thrive.
Absolutely. And you know your kitchen is going to become your new best friend, I think.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, who knew? Your kitchen, your safe haven.
Exactly.
So I think we should start, just so everybody's on the same page.
Okay.
When we say celiac disease, what are we talking about?
So it's not like a gluten sensitivity or, you just feel a little bit off if you have some gluten. It's a full-on autoimmune disease.
Right. And I think, sorry to interrupt, but
No, go ahead.
that's what I think is so important for people to realize, because I know you hear gluten-free this, gluten-free that.
Right. It's trendy.
But this is serious.
Oh, absolutely.
This is your body attacking itself.
Yeah, so it's your immune system, the thing that's supposed to be protecting you from all the bad stuff.
Right.
It gets confused, it gets the wires crossed, and it starts to attack your small intestine when you eat gluten.
And the thing is, gluten hides everywhere.
Oh, it's sneaky.
And it's not always obvious.
No, not at all.
It's not just bread, right? I think a lot of people think, oh, gluten-free bread, and that's it.
Right, you're good.
They don't realize
It's in everything.
it's everywhere.
Salad dressings, soy sauce.
Soy sauce, who knew?
It's crazy.
That one blew my mind when I learned that.
Right, you think you're safe, and then bam, hidden gluten.
Exactly. And this is why we have to talk about this, because knowledge is power here.
Absolutely. Knowing what you're dealing with is half the battle.
So when your body is attacking your small intestine, what is actually happening? What are the symptoms?
So, you get the classic digestive issues, right? You
Yeah.
get the bloating, the stomach cramps, diarrhea.
Right.
But it can also be things like fatigue, brain fog, skin problems even.
Really?
Oh, yeah, it can manifest in so many ways.
Wow. I didn't realize how far it went.
Yeah, it's a whole body thing.
So we were reading in the source about something called, and I have to read this because I can never remember how to say this, human leukocyte antigen. What in the world is that?
Right, so HLA, let's break it down.
Please, because that is a mouthful.
It's like your immune system's ID checker, right?
Yeah.
So it's going around, it's checking everybody's ID, making sure they're supposed to be there, right?
Okay.
And so it's supposed to be able to tell the difference between your body's cells and foreign invaders.
Right, like the good guys versus the bad guys.
Exactly. But with celiac disease, what happens is the HLA, it gets confused and it tags gluten as a threat,
Oh.
even though it's not.
So it's like gluten is showing up with a fake ID, and your HLA bouncer's like, nope, you're out of here, and throws a fit.
Exactly. It causes all this chaos, all this inflammation.
Oh, no. And this is why it's so important to get tested.
Absolutely. If you're having any of these symptoms, don't just brush it off. Go to your doctor, get tested.
Because you can't self-diagnose this.
No, you can't.
You could be doing all right things, thinking you're gluten sensitive.
Right, and it could be something more serious.
Exactly. So get tested. It's so important.
Knowledge is power. For real.
I love that.
Right.
Okay, so we know what celiac disease is. We know why it's important to get tested. But let's talk about this hidden gluten, because this is where things get really tricky.
Oh, yeah. This is where the detective work comes in.
Yes.
You have to be a label detective.
Because you would never in a million years think that soy sauce would have gluten in it.
Right. But it's often used as a thickener.
It's crazy. And this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, yeah. We've got sauces, dressings. Even some medications can have gluten in them.
Medications. Seriously.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's why this is so important.
Exactly. You really have to be careful.
We have to become detectives.
We do.
We have to really take control of our health. And I think that's a great segue into our next point, which is that your kitchen can actually be your secret weapon.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about.
So stay tuned, because we're going to tell you how.
It's going to be good.
So we're talking about the kitchen being your secret weapon.
Yeah. It's true, though.
It's so true. Like, when you really think about it, when you're the one in control, you're calling the shots.
You know exactly what's going into your food.
You know exactly what's going into your food.
No more guessing games on those ingredient lists.
Right. Like, oh, what is this?
Exactly.
No, we're done with that.
We're taking charge.
And the source, the gluten-free podcast, really talked about this idea of, it can feel overwhelming at first.
Right, like overhauling your whole life.
Yeah, like, oh my gosh, you have to change everything.
Right, you don't have to become a chef overnight.
No, but, they made a good point about, it's not about deprivation.
It's about discovery.
It is. It's about discovering new things.
Absolutely.
Like almond flour.
Oh, almond flour. It's a game changer.
It's so good.
Gluten-free, high in protein, fiber, that slightly nutty flavor. It's amazing in baked goods.
It is. Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what gets me excited.
I know, right?
It's not about, oh, I can't have that. It's like, oh, I get to try this new thing.
Exactly.
But let's get real for a second.
Okay.
Cross-contamination.
Yeah, we got to talk about it.
This is serious business.
Because one crumb, you know.
1 crumb can ruin your week.
Exactly.
So where do we even begin?
Okay, first things first, labeling.
Okay.
And I'm not talking like a little sticky note.
Yeah. No.
We're talking full-on dedicated gluten-free zones.
It's like color-coded the whole 9 yards.
Yes, label makers are your best friend.
Oh, I love it.
Right. Dedicated cutting boards.
Oh, yes, that's a big one.
Cannot stress that enough.
Because you might think, oh, I'll just wash it really well. No.
Nope, not worth the risk.
Separate cutting boards.
Separate everything.
Okay, I'm writing this down.
Yep.
Separate cutting boards. What else?
Cleaning. We got to talk about cleaning.
Okay, so like hypothetically, if someone were to use the same toaster
Oh, no.
for gluten-free bread and regular bread.
That's a no-go.
Yeah, that's not good.
Separate toasters, people.
Separate toasters. You heard it here first.
It's all about that dedicated space.
It is, but you know what? It becomes second nature. Once you get into the habit, it's like you don't even think about it.
And the peace of mind is worth it.
It's so true. It's so worth it.
Knowing that your kitchen is a safe space.
Yes, exactly.
That you're not going to accidentally gluten yourself.
Right. It's like your sanctuary.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got our gluten-free kitchen. We're feeling good.
We're feeling empowered.
But there's another layer to this.
Oh, absolutely.
Because celiac disease, it's not just about the food, right?
It's about the social aspect, the emotional aspect.
Yes, and the gluten-free podcast really got into that, and it's so important. It can be really tough, you know. You're out with friends, everyone's enjoying a pizza, and you're stuck with a salad.
Yeah, it's like you're constantly having to think about it.
Constantly. It's like you can never just relax and enjoy.
Right, and then there's that whole explaining it to people thing.
Ugh, don't even get me started.
Like, oh, I'm just gluten sensitive. No, it's different.
It's totally different. People don't understand that it's not a choice.
Exactly. And then they're like, oh, just one bite won't hurt.
Yeah, 1 bite could send me to the hospital.
It's so frustrating. But, you know, the good news is you're not alone.
That's so true. And that's what I loved about this source, the gluten-free podcast. They really got into that.
Yeah, they talked about community.
Yes. Finding your people.
Your gluten-free tribe.
Exactly. And I think that's so important because it can feel really isolating sometimes.
Oh, absolutely, especially in the beginning.
So where do you even find these people?
Well, online groups are a great place to start.
Like Facebook groups, forums, that kind of thing?
Exactly. There's so many of them out there, and they're full of people who just get it.
And they're not afraid to share their recipes.
Oh, yeah. There are some seriously talented gluten-free bakers out there.
Right. It's amazing. And you can ask questions, you can vent, you can share your successes.
It's like a support group, but for celiacs.
I love it.
And the best part is you can take it offline, too.
Oh, like meet up in person?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these groups organize meetups, potlucks, that kind of thing.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it's a chance to connect with people face-to-face, share a meal, and just feel normal.
Normal. That's the key word, right? Just to be around people who get it, who don't bat an eye when you ask about the ingredients.
Yes. No judgment, just understanding.
I love it. So we've covered a lot today, from the science of celiac disease to the importance of community.
And let's not forget those kitchen tips.
Oh, yeah. Label everything, separate cutting boards, the whole 9 yards. You guys are going to be gluten-free chefs in no time.
And remember, knowledge is power. The more you know about celiac disease, the better equipped you'll be to manage it.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to reach out for support, whether it's online or in person. You've got this.
That's right. You're not alone in this journey.
That's it for today's deep dive, everyone. We hope you learned something new, and we'll see you next time.